41.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Talking politics with Phil Goff.
Leader of the Labour Party, Phil Goff. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Wammo.
Good morning. Feet firmly on the ground at the moment. Wouldn't want to be flying today. It's going to be pretty wild.
Hey, it's out at Auckland Airport, and it's quite pleasant out here, but they tell me it's pretty rough in Wellington. So, there's that to look forward to.
Indeed. Now, it's going to be a big week for you guys. You've got a big announcement coming up on Thursday, but somehow, I don't know if it was planned or not, but there's been a lot leaked, of course, over the past week, a lot about capital gains taxes. But at this stage, were you neither confirming nor denying? Where are you at with that?
Well, we're doing the formal announcement on Thursday, and I'm going to leave the formal announcement until then. But what I've really welcomed in the last week is that there's been discussion and debate about the principles behind what a good taxation system involves. And I think that discussion is really important. I mean, first of all, we all know that the government is short of revenue. It's overspending $16 billion a year. And you can't take that out on middle and low income people because they're stretched as tight as they can go at the moment. We're not looking, let me tell you what we're not doing. We're not looking at a tax and spend policy. This is not about raising vastly more sums of money so that we can go on lavish spending programs. There are two priorities in our tax policy. One is a redistribution of tax so that middle and low income people pay less. Because they got very little out of the national government's tax switch. So I've already announced that part of the policy, but I'll be re-announcing it. First $5,000 tax-free.
Yeah.
That means for two people, it might be a couple on super, it might be a couple in the workforce, they'll be paying $1,000 between them less tax a year. So the overwhelming majority of New Zealanders will be better off. Everyone actually will benefit from that because everybody will have their first $5,000 tax-free. And the second thing is, of course, the GST comes off fresh fruit and vegetables, and that has benefits for the household budget, but most importantly, it has benefits and healthy choices for our families in a country that has one of the worst levels of obesity and diabetes in the world.
And really, now, these announcements coming up on Thursday do sound like core Labour Party, policies. Tax the rich and make sure that middle New Zealand to the poor is looked after. Your challenge now, I suppose, is to sell that, because at the moment, National is riding so high. John Key is riding so high in the polls. You're languishing down there at the bottom. If you can't sell this to New Zealand, then you can't really sell anything.
Well, it's not a case. Let me just go to your first point. It's not a case of soaking the rich. We're just saying fair share for everybody. Every dollar you earn in the job that you're doing, you pay tax on. Yeah, there are other people out there that pay no tax at all. You remember that comment that Sam Morgan made? I mean, Sam's a guy that I think did incredibly well with Trade Me, and good luck to him. That was a stroke of brilliance. But when he sold that for $700 million, and he had other co-shareholders in it, I remember very clearly what he said. He said, it's wrong. We're selling this for $700 million, and we're not paying 1 cent of tax on it.
And he wanted to, didn't he?
And he wanted to, yeah. And look, I've talked to several businessmen in the last week that come within that category. They say, look, no, however you earn your money, a good tax system is one that doesn't just load tax on one section of the community, the wage and salary earner, and the corporate sector through company tax. It's one that has a broad-based tax system where everybody gets a fair go and everybody pays their fair share. So, that's the first thing that we're looking at. Well, the first thing we're looking at is how we fund tax cuts, how we fund paying off our debt. So we need another source of revenue. The second thing, is that going to be fair? Is it going to be fair on everybody in the community so that nobody's having to carry the burden for somebody else? And the third thing I think we need to look at is how do we encourage investment to move not to areas that are speculative, but to areas that actually increase the wealth of our country, grow jobs, grow people's incomes. And that's fundamental. And what we'll be proposing won't be radical in the sense that no other country has ever tried this. Actually, it'll be pretty orthodox.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to that announcement on Thursday. But what about another issue that perhaps you could hang your hat on and come out as the hero in, with this case of Arie Smith, the chap who was accused of looting down in Christchurch? It appears that he's being bullied by the police in the case. The recommendation from the judges is that they needed to go away and look at diversion again. They haven't done that, and they still want to go through with prosecution. The building that he went into, and the owners of that building, they also don't want to see him prosecuted either. Someone needs to come out in support of this.
Yeah. Look, I think what we saw, and we've seen a bit of it, haven't we? At the time, that for all of us, the thought of looting after the earthquake was absolutely abhorrent. And so there was a bit of a trial by media, and, it was almost lynch the guy. And then the facts have emerged that it's an ADHD condition, I think, that he's got.
Autism. Yeah.
Autism, that's right, autism. And it's behaviour that he can't particularly control. And I didn't watch the interview with him, but I saw the trailer, and clearly he's got a problem. If it was you or I that was going in and looting a shop, then the public opprobrium and condemnation would be absolutely appropriate. I'm not saying he did the right thing. I'm just saying there was a reason for him doing the wrong thing, and that needs to be taken into account in any proper system of justice. Nobody wants to see somebody who's suffering from something like autism actually punished because of the condition that they don't have full control over. And I think the justice system simply has to take that into account. This is not an evil person. This is not a greedy person. This is not a looter. This is a young man that has a problem with autism, and that affects his behaviour in that way.
What are the rules here? Can politicians take up the cause?
It's a very difficult situation. What politicians can never do is be seen to interfere in the justice system.
Yeah.
So we're not in a position to direct the courts, dictate to the courts, or tell the courts how they should be behaving. But I hope that within the justice system there is a mechanism so that, it's a very old concept that the punishment fits the crime and the nature of the person who's committed it. And the system really does need to be flexible enough to take those sort of things into account.
Phil Goff, hey, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Wammo. Great
Cheers.
talking to you, mate.
See ya. Bye.
Catch you next week. Cheers.
Leader of the Labour Party, Phil Goff, there with us. Time now here